What's
Hello,
going
hello.
on? All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us on week 62 for no particular reason. My name's Kerri Lewis, and I am here with my incredible co-host, Yankov. And we just show up every Friday at 10 a.m. for really no particular reason. But we
That's right.
always find something to talk about. And I know that I always have something to talk about. So let's get into the weeds. What's up with you, Yanko?
Oh, not whole much. I'm getting ready for the summertime. Been enjoying everything sprouting around and getting green, and all the flowers are flowering, and we're getting some decent weather, and that makes me want to be more outside and connect with nature and spend more time and just be and soaking all that goodness and all that new life that's just flowering around. It's been awesome.
I love that.
I
Hey,
can't wait.
Jenna Knight. You know what, girlfriend? I'm going to send you a link via your message. And if you can jump on, let's do this, baby. For me, it is overcast. And I have to tell you, so Yanko and I, before were live, we were talking about life. And I was saying how much I love my hair. So shout out to Jahira. I don't know your last name because I don't be like that, but this girl hooks up my hair and it can look messy. It could look put together. Right now, I'm going for like an old school Justin Bieber look, but I'm really vibing my hair today, Yanko. No comment.
I love it. I love your new. Yeah, I love your new hairstyle. It's just it's something. It's
Yeah.
different. I myself didn't haven't done anything with my hair, so I'm not rocking. Maybe I'm rocking that style by default.
You're so
So yeah,
funny.
there you go.
Well, anyway, so we were talking about what our plans were for this weekend, and I was sharing that my daughter has prom tonight, which is so wild because I didn't do prom. I just it wasn't in me. I didn't do it, whatever. And so now being able to live vicariously through her is pretty fun.
I mean, I
Jenna!
haven't.
And for no particular reason, I got my homegirl Jenna Knight jumping on with
What
us.
up, people? Hi, hi.
Oh, man.
How are ya?
I'm
Why am
all
I
right.
so blurry?
I know. I was like, you blurred out. What's going on with you, spunky friend of
I,
mine?
I don't know. Nothing. Just been working and doing my thing. And I just got over COVID. Oh, man, that was hell.
Can't say I'm jealous.
Oh, I don't wish this upon anybody.
Hang on one second. I actually have to send one more person.
Ooh, we're gonna have a
I know.
round table today. That's sounding
Woohoo!
exciting.
Yeah,
There
it
you go.
is.
That's the spirit.
So, so
I
yeah.
love
So here's
it.
the thing. I feel like it's for no particular reason, and I really want us to just chop it up. So, Jenna, you are chasing your PhD. Am I correct?
Yes, yes, I am.
And I have so much admiration for you because you have gone through a lot of hardship to
That's
be
okay.
able to show up and achieve that incredible goal, which is wild. Oh, here we go, guys. It's really going to be a party now because I got two spunky people, me and Yanko, up in the place. Let me see if I can bring this individual on. This is a gift for you, Yanko. Oh, he jumped off. He's coming. You saw who it is?
Oh, okay. That's gonna be
Okay.
exciting.
Did you see who it was?
I'm gonna jump off and come back because I don't like this. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay.
So anyway, going back to so Jenna was diagnosed with ADHD and had a lot of challenges in her formative years, and yet she showed up and was able to
There
as
you
she
go.
says, hi.
What up? What up? What up?
Wow.
How are you
What
guys?
up? What up?
Yeah.
I'm so glad you joined.
Hey,
I literally said, "Oh, I'm totally hitting Nana up to see if he can join," because me and Yanko are always talking about having you come on with us.
I just showed up
it's
out of nowhere.
finally
Well, you're at the
it
gym. What are you
finally
working
happened.
on?
I know. It's so funny because I'm over here like, oh, I can hop on because like I woke up late, right? So I slept in. Well, really, what it was, I was up late last night because I was doing this thing. So I bleached it and then dyed it, and so it kept me up until like 12. And I'm like, oh, I gotta pack up. Like I gotta get ready for the day. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take my sweet time. I'll get there when I get there. And here we are now at the gym at 10:07, finishing up probably in the next like 15 minutes, and then I'm gonna get ready for the busy weekend that we got going on coming up.
That's
How
right.
y'all doing?
Listen, I'm amazing.
I love your energy, man.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm listening to you. I'm over here working out between sets. So I'm listening to y'all. But go ahead, do your
I
thing.
love
You get,
you
you
so
get.
much. So what? So why don't you share with the listening audience as you? I think you're doing bicep curls, whatever. Um,
Yes.
what is it you're doing this weekend?
Yo, so I am actually. So let me set this shit right. Let me set this shit right here. So what it is I'm heading to a video game convention called PAX East. It's
Yep.
one of the biggest one in the Northeast region. So it's basically a whole bunch of like um, gamers, people that have like talk shows or certain celebrities that come out, form different fandoms, and they all meet up for a whole weekend or 4 days. It's more like just bonding with people, and there's vendors and things that nature. So it's like a Comic Con, but it's more video game oriented.
Gotcha.
So I got a really cool lineup that I'm excited to showcase to people over there and bring a sense of happiness and joy.
Oh, there we
What?
go. Okay,
How are you, man?
for anybody who wants to know what it's like to work out with Jim, that's exactly what it's like. We work
Yeah.
out, and then mad people come up and say hi to us all the time because
It
they
happens all the time. All this, and I'm grateful for it. You know what I mean? Like, it just shows how cool, like, the moment is. You know what I mean? Like, and people living in the moment is a huge thing as we get to town, everything like that, too. So, but no,
So
I'm
now
excited.
I want to introduce you to our amazing friend Jenna. So Jenna actually lives
Hi.
in Worcester,
Hey, hon, how's it going?
and Jenna
Good.
actually advocated for the city of Worcester, and she was able to
Oh,
highlight individuals who are neurodiverse, right?
yeah. Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
hey, in Worcester, honoring people who show up neuro spicy, as you would say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got a proclamation to the city of Worcester to make the month of October ADHD Awareness Month, and I'm probably gonna do it again this
Mm.
year. Yeah, that's my love.
I
So
just love that you're doing it for the city of Worcester because obviously I'm a Worcester native, right? So, that's freaking amazing to see that. You know what I mean? So, thank you for that, by the way.
no problem.
No
But
problem. What was the driving force to chase after that initiative? Because I imagine that takes a lot of effort to make sure that the city values and highlights people who show up differently, which I think we're all meant to be different anyway. So this idea that, there's something wrong with somebody because they learn differently blows my mind. We're 8 billion plus people, and we all have different ways of navigating life to achieve the goals, hopes, and dreams that we have.
It was just it happens every year. I mean, and I don't, no offense, but it's not really recognized here in Worcester that much.
mm,
People all say, "Oh, I have ADHD," and it's like, really. So I just want to bring more awareness, especially to the minority population, where a lot of kids, neurodivergent kids are not diagnosed because of that stigma, the treatment. Don't want to put my kids on stimulant medication. They might get addicted to them, to the drugs. So
oh,
yeah.
So I mean, look, you and me have had this conversation. I'll keep it real. I do have an aversion to medication. Do I think that there is a place for it? Yes. Do I think that we are an over medicated country that doesn't seek other methodologies to navigate our individuality? 100%. And I really believe, and I'll be curious to have all three of you weigh in on this as I'm watching Nana hang. Um, uh, I am curious to have people weigh in on this. You know, it's cool to be different. We're meant to be different. We really are. But we have to take action every single day in order to honor
Well,
our differences and
yeah.
still achieve results. And so, I see both sides of that coin. And quite frankly, when my daughter came to me and was like, "Hey, can I see if I need to be tested?" I said, "Absolutely not."
Yeah.
When you have shown me you've done breath work, that you've gotten up every 45 minutes and moved your body, when you've done all these other tools, then we can talk about something else. But yes, there are people who need medication. It supports them and helps them function and live a life that feels good for them. And that is ultimately, I know, the goal that Yanko, Nana, yourself, and me all want for people. So
I
Right,
mean,
go on.
uh,
No,
I
no, go ahead, go
believe
ahead.
that, yes, ADHD medication is great. But it's also, it needs to be multifaceted. Medication doesn't help with time management, organization, the executive
Mm,
functioning stuff. It
mm,
doesn't. So it's
mm-hmm.
like, okay, and that's why I became a coach. I mean, and people, a lot of doctors, even in other countries. I mean, I'm coaching. I have almost a client and a half. I've had clients in Germany, and Germany still doesn't acknowledge that ADHD is for adults. They only see it for kids still.
yeah.
It
Well,
it's unreal.
go ahead, babe. What did you want to add to the conversation?
No, I was gonna say I think it's great that it's getting a light on these things because like I think too many times, but even in the Ghanaian culture, this is a perfect example. Like you know, in the Ghanaian culture, a lot of people don't see mental health as like a thing. They're just like, oh no, you're not going through some stuff like that. You can't be. You're good. But I'm like, there's a lot of people that battle that behind the scenes. Like I mean, I have family members that probably could use some kind of assistance of help of some sort, but it's perceived as like, oh, like you're not all there. But I'm like, dude, not everybody's all there. So like, let's be honest. I think it's great that it's being talked about more often, and I wish it was actually brought up more frequently in my culture, which that's just a step in the right direction now compared to what it was years ago when it wasn't even talked about. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, Yanko? So Yanko is a hypnotist, and Yanko and I tend to go off in the woo-woo part of our brains, but I'm curious to hear you weigh in on this conversation.
I mean, everyone it's here to have their own experience, and everyone should have the freedom of will to choose what's good for them, or try different things. And just because somebody is different, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with them, and they automatically have to be treated and automatically have to be put in a frame or whatever, a category or whatever you want to, call it. That's what I'm thinking, because like you know through the years there are people that are different, like Einstein was different. But
Yep. Yep.
people are like, if he's different but it's not harm to himself or anybody else, we're just not going to do anything about it.
Mm,
And so, but now it's more of like, let's see how we can make you look like us,
Yeah.
put you in the box. That's my thought about the whole process. And again, I like to remind everyone that everything has a place, and we're not doctors. We're not advising anybody to stop taking their medication if they have to be in medication. And this is not a medical advice of any kind.
Thank you, Yanko, for that public service announcement.
There you go.
Yeah.
No, but no, you know what? I want to touch upon what Jenna said, because Jenna, you're 100% right. Medication does not take the place of learning habits and strategies that work for individuals so that they can create results, so that they can see, their work creating something that they can be proud of. And I think that is where coaching, it has a place in this world. I hold people accountable for the simple act of setting an intention. And one would say, wow, that's really easy, setting intention. Not really. If you've never set an intention, the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning, that's a habit change. It takes time for you to cultivate that new
That's right.
behavior.
Yep. Oh
And
yeah.
then you build upon that. But most people have this in their brain, oh, I'll figure it out on their own, and they don't. And then they flounder and they feel hopeless and they beat themselves up, because our mind likes to tear us down. And so that is why I love the work that you do, because you offer solutions that the person has to take action on. You're not doing it for them, but
Mhm.
you're helping them so that they can then create a foundation to have a life that feels fulfilling and joy filled for themselves.
You just kind of gave my what I do in my business in a nutshell. I mean, I do have clients. I am working with one right now. She's 14. She's in the 8th grade, and I really thought I wasn't gonna break. At first couple of days, at first couple of weeks, she wasn't. It wasn't a breakthrough. It wasn't this. It wasn't that. And then she finally came out of her shell and started, doing the changing her habits. And it takes a while. I mean, I worked with this one other lady, um, who it took me 3 months to get out of her shell. 3 months. So we will be meeting at the local coffee shop, and we'll just be sitting there in silence, or we'll be talking about life. We weren't talking about anything related to coaching, but yeah, and it took 3 months for me to get to her.
You know what? I was talking to an individual yesterday in sales, and actually Nana came up in this conversation. And this individual was like, I don't sell anybody anything. I educate them on the value of what it is that I offer so that they can make an informed decision, which that part I agreed with. Where I disagreed was, then this individual said to me that their job is to create a sense of urgency to make a decision right now.
Mm.
And that is where I fundamentally don't agree. And I actually use Nana
Yep.
as an example too, because he and I plant seeds. I do not expect somebody to hire me the first, second, third, maybe even 20th time we've connected. Why? One, I work in addiction and mental health recovery. So if you don't trust me, because I am going to challenge you and rip apart every belief you have,
Exactly.
your
Yep.
entire foundation is getting scrutinized so we can rebuild you, right? So it takes time for people to trust me. So I don't have this idea of a timeline that I can get somebody to work with me, because each person, just like what strategy works for each person, is very different. I can say Nana, who is the top salesperson in his area, does the same thing. He doesn't have an expectation that a person is going to purchase a vehicle from him. He goes in with the lens of, how can I be of service to this individual? Is it to tell them don't make a change because it's not the right time for you? Maybe. But it isn't about um having this end goal of what the results look like. And that's what I love about you, Jenna, is you continue to hold space for until those individuals feel comfortable enough to open up to you. The second thing I want to highlight about you, Jenna, and then Nana, I'm going to ask you to weigh in.
Yeah.
You have done it, and this is why I love you, is you have been diagnosed with ADHD. The world could have easily written you off because of the experiences you've had in growing up in Worcester, and yet you, instead of saying, "Oh no, I'm kind of stuck with whatever," you showed up and now are chasing a PhD. And so you
Shout
have
out.
that, you embody the work, and that's the difference between you and other coaches, and that's the difference between me and some other coaches. I practice what I preach all the time, and as a result it makes me credible, and that's the same for you. Babe, what you got anything
Oh,
to
oh, my fault, my fault. No, I thought, I thought it was Jen's turn. I'm over here going through it right now, but no, no. What you were gonna say is, no, I love that you created the sense of urgency part because like it's the same thing with myself where like I have a customer that will come in, right? So let's say if it's their first shop looking for cars and they don't know what they're looking for, sometimes it does take 2 or 3 visits for them to know, or even a couple test drives to figure out what it is. And I don't ever be like, oh man, like these people are wasting my time. They're not a waste of time. They came in to figure out what made sense for them. And sometimes it's just building that value in yourself. And yeah, okay, you can try to say, oh, well, you got to buy a car before tariffs. But that's not a smart idea because that's going to deter the customer in all honesty. Like it scares them away because they're like, oh, I'm buying out of fear. And that's one thing that I always tell people, I'm like, don't buy out of fear because you're going to be like, damn, like I'm going to have buyer's remorse because I bought out of fear because I was scared of what's going to happen in the unknown. So going back to your point was like, yeah, you'll sometimes have clients that won't commit right off the bat. It's the same thing with sales. Like people come in with a preconceived notion of somebody's out to screw me over, and I'm just like, how do I shift that mentality and break that barrier and meet in the middle and be like, hey, look, I'm just here to educate you, and you decide what you do and let me know. But side note, I am gonna head out because your boy gotta get ready for this pod. But thank you guys for having me. In all honesty,
you're
Well,
welcome
thanks for
anytime.
stopping by.
Stop.
You're
Thank
welcome
you.
anytime.
Good to see you.
I appreciate you. You guys have a great day. Okay,
You
I
too.
love you,
Oh,
babe.
thank you. Same
love
to
you, man.
you.
Bye.
So yeah, I mean, I agree, and I think that when we have an expected outcome for anything, then we're coming from ego. We have this idea of how things need to be, and you can't really serve people from a place of ego because you have a, like, unintentionally, but you have an ulterior motive, whether it's to make a certain amount of money, whether it's to see somebody take on your program, whether it's to have somebody buy into or subscribe to your ideology. And that's why I tell people all the time, I will not show up in the world if I cannot come from love or curiosity. I won't. I will cancel clients. I will even avoid my kids because I'm human. I'm definitely perimenopausal. So, oh my God, there are days when I want to like
Don't get me.
somebody,
Don't get me started on that one. Oh,
right? But
oh,
no, but like I feel like, one, because I know that everything's a transference of energy, I owe it to myself and everybody else to protect them from that energy. But more than that, I never want to impart what I think is right on anybody else because I don't know what is right. I don't know what is wrong. I know what feels good for me. And I'm going to teach people how to learn themselves so that they know what feels good for them. And that to me is, the true
oh.
test of somebody inspired by love rather than ego.
Reality of things is that we're all getting programmed every day on daily basis. Everyone tell us what to do and what not, and then there's people that are trained to do this kind of things. And I was in the store yesterday, and somebody approached me trying to sell me a product, and they were like a robot. Can I get you started with the zip code yet? And I said, I'm not interested. And then that person said, well, we're out here trying to help you out and this and that. And I said, because you know me and you want to help me, why? And then he kind of stopped there and he was kind of shocked because they keep going with whatever they train him how to say it, the verbiage to get the people to respond a certain way. And I see that more and more because I do this kind of work. I'm a hypnotist. I know how to influence people, but some people go in courses and they call them, marketing courses or something like that, where they teach them how to influence people. And like you guys mentioned earlier, that now, like the urgency, like get it now and this and that. But it was just kind of like a robot almost. He learned his phrases and he keeps going with whatever he was, taught to say. And it didn't even feel like I'm communicating with a human being, to be honest with you. It was kind of surprising. So, yeah,
Well, it's so interesting. Go ahead, Yanko.
no. Go ahead.
Interesting. So I had this gentleman call me from like a podcasting thing. Now this place has blown up my phone for like ever. And normally I just say I'm not interested and I hang up. I'm not interested in engaging. But today, I don't know, I was feeling a little spicy. And so I said, listen, I've taken this call several times. I had 3 podcasts. I'm not really interested in being highlighted. Thank you so much. And I was like, I do coaching. And this person got so mad at me. And I I just had to laugh because the reality is like, I don't know. We are programmed, and that behavior would have absolutely made somebody make a choice to hire them or whatever. And I'm like, wow, I just love to watch. I love to watch the programming happening all the time. And then the other thing I'll talk about is I think about all these scams, and in my mind, I'm like, why the fuck does everybody get scammed all the time? And I realize everybody is in overload. Our nervous system is always heightened. We're in fight or flight. And
That's
then
right.
all of a sudden you get a text in, Social Security, you owe them, blah, blah, blah. Pay them $100 right now. And because it already tightened up, they're going to do it. And then they get taken advantage of. So this is why I encourage people, if you do nothing else, start to learn tools and strategies to calm yourself down. Maybe take off notifications from your phone. Maybe don't have your emails being scrolled through the first thing you wake up, or doomsday scroll, because all those things are causing your nervous system to spike up, to be heightened. And then what happens is, somebody cuts you off and you pop off
Yep.
and lose your mind. But really, if you had regulated your nervous system, you wouldn't have responded that way.
Right, you're 100%. You're right on,
Uh,
right on mark. And I think it all comes down to awareness and not like reacting, like right off the bat, not
Yeah.
being reactive, but more of a present in the moment, in seeing how everything unfolding instead of whatever first thing comes in, like habits or anything, how you thought. And that gives you a greater window where with more possibilities to choose differently, if that makes any sense.
Yep.
No.
Yep. What do you do, Jenna? Do you have any strategies? So I know that you work with people around ADHD, but I imagine, or I mean, I guess I'm just assuming, but are there strategies that you work with and teach people to regulate their nervous system? And what are like some strategies that you've learned, because you've gone to school for a lot of this, to help you navigate working with a neurospicy brain, which to me is like a regular brain, by the way, because I think we're all neurospicy, but that's besides the point.
there's like it depends on like the person I'm working with. Another one, I'm working with one right now who she likes to like tell people all of her business. And she wants to stop that, and then she starts feeling bad about herself because she's telling people stuff that she doesn't want other people to know. So I just told her like before you want to say something, or have a conversation, think about like what you want to say. Write down what you want to say. or like if you feel negative that day about certain things, write in a journal, write all that negative crap that's inside your brain, write it down on paper, because if you do it from the brain to the paper, it's gone. And just like throw it away. Um,
Yeah.
I should take my own advice
That's
sometimes.
actually, yeah, that's actually really good because that I recommended that to some people that are really in their head because it does work when you put it on paper. The brain thinks that it's no longer having to remember it, and it just uploads it, and it's a great tool
I
for a
call
lot
it
of people to use.
I call it the brain dump. Uh,
It
yeah.
is.
So it's like the brain dump is you just take everything that's on your mind. Well, I do it for like productivity. Um, you write everything what best you need to do for the week, and then okay, what else? You ask yourself some questions. Okay, what else do I need to do? Write that down, and then you set it up in categories. Okay, this is for health, work, so on and so forth. And then I think you break it. I don't remember the steps. Oh my god, that's pretty bad. I think
No, you're
I think you
fine.
set priorities, and then you break it down into little steps. You estimate time on how long it takes you, and you put it into your calendar, and that's it. 7-step
Yeah.
system.
Well, you know what's so funny is when I worked in corporate America and I worked for retail stores. So you can have the best laid plans of having something accomplished, but you walk in and something's not working, or an employee is having an emotional breakdown. Your best laid plans go out the door. So I always wrote down
Yep.
everything that I wanted. I had an ongoing list. It never got finished, but I learned to cross off the things. And additionally, what I would do is write the things that I had done that day. So, for example, if I had 10 things on my list, I only got 2 done, but I spent 2 hours working with an employee to help them feel more empowered or training. I'd write support employee and training, because that taught my brain to focus on the things I accomplished rather than the things I weren't doing. And most people have that habit of, I'm not doing enough. We're doing enough. Us being here in this moment is clearly enough. If it wasn't, we wouldn't exist in this moment. So it's retraining your brain
Yep.
to look at the success rather than the failure. And it is a habit for
Even
sure.
I'm working with another client who, she says, I have so much to do. I'm like, do 3 things. 3 things for the day. That is it. That's it. And then if you feel like you can do more, take maybe one more thing off of your list and do it. But do 3 important tasks a day. That's it. It doesn't. And once you get those done, it's like, oh crap, I really accomplished a lot today. And I call that a win. That's a win for you. So
Yeah, so I feel a little differently, but I agree with you. See, I think we build momentum, we're energy. And the very idea of setting myself up with that expectation also opens me up for judgment. And so for me, it's, what do I need to do in this moment to feel good? That's a question I ask myself. That is it. Right? Like yesterday, I worked with 3 clients, all 3 in crisis, like high emotion. And so every time I ended that call, I'm like, what do I need to do in this moment to feel good? One time I went and weeded my garden. Another time I took a class that kicked my ever-loving butt. And another time I literally just sat in my chair and just kind of pulled it. But that to me makes me feel like accomplished. Like I
yep,
feel proud that I was able to truthfully, my win, my goal. Did I show up in love, and was I regulated?
yep,
Like, did I come from peace rather than anxiety? And if I can do that, I won my day. That's all, and that's so important that I really hope to impress upon people. We live in this, you got to get everything done now society, and that everything you getting done now society is killing people. We have the highest rates of heart attacks and cardiovascular issues. We have the highest rate of mental health medicated people in the world. We have the very high rate of people admitting to consuming alcohol or other chemicals to regulate and check out. And so when we think about that and we have that information, my question for people are, what are you doing to come back to peace? Not what are you doing to achieve success? Anybody want to weigh in?
No, I was just gonna wait for Jenna because she's actually doing a lot of that stuff, and I wanted to hear what she has to say about that.
Sorry, I'm writing something down.
I love it. Your brain
No, I have a
dumping.
client at 11, so if she
Oh, well,
no,
fuck
if she
off.
shows up, I haven't heard from her, so I don't know what's going on. It drives me insane. You know, I know when my clients are having a bad day. I can tell. I'm like right off. Is it something? Sorry, I'm making noise. Is it something? Do they want to meet today if they're in a bad mood? Because I do not want to meet with them if they're not in a good space to talk about their ADHD and what's going on. So I check in with them first. You know, some of them say, yeah, I'll do it. And then like halfway through the session or in the beginning of the session, I'll say, I noticed this. I'm like, why don't we just stop for the day and we'll talk, you know, clear your head, get some stuff, you know, just clear your head and we'll meet up next week. And then that's where it goes. But there were times where, oh my, I was meeting transgender woman, sweetheart, absolutely love her to death. She we're talking about the inner gremlin, that negative self-talk, that little gremlin, that damn gremlin. And I said something, and then she got very, very quiet. And I'm like, oh shit, what did I do? And this is in the beginning of my career. And she got very, very silent. I said, oh crap. I said, okay, let's stop. And she's like, no, no, no. I said, no, I can't. Because I know I could see her like tearing up. Then come to find out, one of the things that was brought up was triggered her to remember like what her grandmother said to her before she, you know, when back when she was a kid. And it really bothered her. And I'm like, okay, that's it. We're done. I'm done. I do not want to go because I can't deal with emotional stuff. All I can deal with right now is the you know, time management, the executive functioning skills. And I felt really bad. So I ended a coaching session with her. I felt so bad. I had to call my coach mentor, and I'm almost in tears going, what the ever living hell did I just do? And I'm texting her and emailing her and like, this is what happened. I feel bad. Oh my, I don't want her to commit suicide. I don't want her to do this. She's like, did you stop the conversation? Yeah, I didn't go on because I felt that it just wasn't right at that time. She's like, well, you did the right thing. You know, you stopped. You did not dig anymore because that's not what we're there for. But I still felt terrible, you know, and she's like, it's not your fault that it triggered her. You know, you don't know their story. So, yeah, never going to do that again.
Well, I mean, you know what? You bring up a couple of points. I personally believe we live in a soft society. Like I'm sorry, but political correctness is truly fucking up the world. The reality is I can't know everybody's experience. I just can't. I can come from love, but I am inevitably in the work that I do, I am inevitably going to say something that might have a reaction to somebody else that I wasn't aware of. So hi, Shaya. Thank you for joining. We appreciate you. And if you have any comments, feel free to add because we love audience
Hey,
engagement.
hey,
But
Shia. She,
but the reality is we do the best we can. And I think for me, I just take ownership. Hey, I understand that how what I said didn't feel supportive for you. Thank you for being honest with me about how you feel. I really appreciate that. And we can circle back. If we sit in guilt, we're going to never show up as our
mm,
authentic self. And I know I trigger people. I mean, I swear like a truck. I have tits on my arm. Like people don't vibe with me, and that's okay. I'm not going to play small because my presence might trigger somebody else. I am going to honor the fact that you're coming from a different experience, and that experience may cause you to have feelings or situations that arise in you. And I can respect that, and I will respect that, and I can honor you in that. But that does not mean that I'm going to filter myself. It just means that I'm going to honor our space and hopefully be a little bit more cognizant about how it is I'm showing up with that individual. And that's all we can really do. I fundamentally believe that, because otherwise we're never speaking our
mm.
truth. We're never being honest with ourselves. The other thing I want to highlight that you did that I really like, and I'm all about tough conversations. I'm going to say the thing that may be difficult to say, but if it's on my heart, I truly believe I'm being called to say it. Whether it's, and for example, you work with clients. Hey, Sally Sue, you committed to doing this thing for yourself. Have you been doing that? No. Why? Blah, blah, blah. Well, here's the thing. You're really only inhibiting your own growth and potential. It has nothing to do with me. I don't care. I don't have an attachment to an individual's outcome. I am there to hold people accountable for the commitments they make for themselves. And that means being able to call people on their bullshit, because the reality is, I know Yanko's going to have something to say about this. I don't care. People lie to themselves all the time. Oh, I didn't have time. Oh, I woke up with my period. Oh, and I get it. I really do. I really do. But all of those excuses keep you stuck in an experience that you're telling me you don't want to be in, but you're not actually willing to do the work to get out of it. And I'm going to say it. And that really pisses people off sometimes. But you know what? I'm going to dive in even deeper. You know why I like to piss people off? And I do. I like to spice things up, because apathy is a lower energetic vibration than anger, which means if you're just like Eeyore, oh, my life is always going this way, and you're apathetic, you've just decided that you're stuck with your plight. If I can get you mad at me, well, I've shifted your energy, and in that energy, you can take action. You're gonna be like, this bitch, she's did, and I'm like, you know what? At least I got you to move, even if it's to fire me and hire somebody else. Like I am really passionate about doing the thing, whether it's to show up very nurturing and supportive, because there are people who really just need me to see them and honor them and hold space for them, or tell them, well, get your head out your ass and go for a walk instead of sitting here day after day complaining about your plight and doing absolutely nothing to make it different. Because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over expecting different results. It's not going to happen.
Gosh, facts.
Oh, listen. All right. Okay. I'm just going to say something. Catherine Cipher has a book, Barely a Whisper. I might have it over here. She wrote a book of poetry around healing, and she healed a lot through old patterns, belief systems, and habits that so she used her healing journey to create a platform to empower other individuals. She also has a very successful virtual piano business. She's a mother of 6, and she supports women stepping into their power through photography. I don't know that you need me to get you angry, but if you want me to, I will, because I'm spicy like that.
I, I was gonna say that usually it's the energy you're bringing in when you sit with people that makes them move. Not as much as what you say. Sometimes it's the energy you're bringing. The same way you can like somebody without even knowing him, or dislike somebody without even knowing him. Just and that's the
Oh
bottom
yeah.
line. You're
I
gonna you're gonna trigger somebody out by just being there, and that's okay.
100%.
Yeah,
Well, that's why, the bulk of what I work with people on is not worrying about the good opinion of others, particularly our family members. And I said this to a client yesterday. I don't give a rat's ass what my mother thinks about me. And that is the God's honest truth. I don't care what my twin sister thinks about me. I love them immensely. Don't get me wrong. But I don't, because I'm not here to live the life that they understand. I'm here to have a fully expressed life that makes me feel good. And Yanko, you and I were talking about it before we went live, right? I feel like I'm the bee's knees. I could go out looking like a hot mess express, my eyeliner dripping down my face from doing a cardio class, like no bra because I don't like bras, like my hot mess, and still think I am a queen. And then I can look dolled up and I still think I'm a queen. And it's because I love everybody. I really do. You want to dress up and be part of the Pink Pony Club, or you want to, if you identify as a woman but was brought into this world as a male, if you, were brought up Jewish and convert to Islam, are you happy? Because if you're happy, you're emitting an energy that gives other people permission to chase their happy. And that is a responsibility I take very seriously. If I worry about the good opinion of anybody else, guess what? I don't get to hold myself accountable to the thing that I want most, which is for people to know that they are limitless, they are loved, and that they are worthy in this moment, always, just as themselves. I feel like I need a microphone. Just do like the mic drop,
that's
though.
right.
Mic drop.
I mean,
Okay.
but attention, you'll notice
I
that a
feel
lot of
like
the people
I
they
feel
live in
like
their own reality.
Mm-hmm.
well, we all do, though, right?
I mean, everyone sees you in a way that they have a kind of version of you that they think you are, you know, um, and so you can't expect everyone to see it the same way because they run their own version of their reality, you know. and
Yep.
and if you're paying attention, you're going to start noticing that that's actually happening with people, that they have a one version that they expect you to be a certain way based on their reality and their expectations, and then somebody else that's going to have their version of their reality and their expectations. And if you have no expectations towards somebody, when you communicate or do anything, then that brings up a whole different level of experience when you're connecting with somebody. So that's something else to think about.
Mm.
I want to add something to that, because I was sharing this with an individual. This individual told me that they know about something, and I was like, "Well, how do you know you know?" Well, I just know. Well, but how do you really know you
Mm.
know? Well, I just know. Okay, well, science has known things since the dawn of science has been invented, and the things that we knew always changed. The truth that was thought to be right then has evolved and changed. You can't know anything. And that includes individuals. So what happens is I wake up and I see the same version of my daughter, right? She's 17. If I make an assumption that I know my daughter, then I've just limited her. I don't know my daughter. She could have had an experience from the time I went to bed to the time that I woke up that changed how she views the world. And because I assume I know who she is in this moment, I never ever get to see her in her full expression right now. And that's why I tell people we cannot bring our past into our present, because when we bring our past into our present, we're bringing it into the future. But and this is where I get all spiritual, but science proves it too. So I don't care if you're of the school of theology or quantum theory and physics, but the reality is, guys, our power lies in this moment. You could have had all this trauma in your past. If in this moment you choose to give, if in this moment you choose to experience joy, if in this moment you choose to have a different perspective, your future is free from trauma, right? It just is. But we operate from this assumption that we know. And in that assumption that we know, we create ourselves a little box that filters our experience, and we close ourselves off from the limitless possibilities we get to tap into in any given day if we just stopped assuming that we know things.
That's right. You
Yes.
100%. Go ahead, John.
That I disagree, really.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you keep bringing your past into the present, your baggage, if you keep bringing it in, at certain point you got to decide, do you really need to? Because if you bring it in, it's probably serving you some kind of purpose. Like you're using it either as an excuse or something else to keep bringing it in. I mean, or you haven't left it really, and you don't have to. Every moment it's different. Everything it's totally new. Like a frame on a movie or on a video clip, everyone it's single and it changes with every frame. Everything changes. So yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Well, and you're right in that, like, there's certain things that come up for me. I shared this with my twin sister because we're talking about psychology and no diss. Listen, talk therapy works for some people. I'm not trying to tell you that you shouldn't do what feels right for you. I had the most exceptional therapist when I was in my late teens, early 20s, Valgi Fulginetti. Thank you very much. You the bee's knees. But when I can heal in this moment, right? So when my sister passed away, when her cat was with a body for 3 days, so the cat was removed, right? And then I get there and the neighbor went to bring the cat back. The cat spazzed. I mean, lost its ever living mind. Now I was disassociated. I had to get through the experience I was having with navigating the unexpected loss of my sister. So fast forward 2 years later, right? Now I've been doing this work since I was 14. So I honor myself. I really do. And I regulate. So I'm watching the Hunger Games, one of the last like sequences of the movie where Katniss, who lost her sister Primrose, goes into a house and a cat jumps through the window, right? I lost my crap. Nana, the girls were there. It didn't matter. I sobbed. I just had a visceral experience to this. That was how I healed what happened 2 years previous. I didn't sit on a couch for 2 years talking about my died. I showed up in the thing, blah, blah, blah. When I experienced this overwhelming emotion because of whatever was happening, I healed it. It hasn't bothered me since. And I think that's the thing, is that's our power. We don't have to think about our past to heal. We don't have to be like, well, my husband did this and no. If you are having an emotional response right now, you have an opportunity to release something. And sometimes you don't even know. I probably try almost every day, especially in yoga. If I'm doing yoga or some type of like really tapping into my physical joints, I cry. Like I'll start sometimes I booger snot ugly cry, sometimes I'll just have a tear, but I cry. And sometimes I don't know why. And my ego will come in and be like this, and I'm like, nope, I'm just honoring
That's
whatever's
right.
coming up. In that, I'm healing stuff. I'm just healing stuff. And I don't have to understand why. And for anybody who believes in a higher power, whatever that may be, right? Why wouldn't we believe that something greater than us can help us heal? Why do we think we have to logically understand everything? Why can't we just say, oh, this is coming up, I'm going to honor it and move on? And something I read earlier that I know to be true, Carl Jung said it, what we resist
Mm.
persists. So we're saying to Yanko, you were saying if it keeps coming up, right, you either aren't ready to heal from that experience, need to learn more things from that experience, whatever. But understand, if you resist something, it's going to keep coming up, keep coming up, keep coming up until you honor it. Once you honor it, it's gone.
Yeah, it
I
really
get
comes down. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Jenna.
wow, holy shit, holy God. Really, Kerri? Thank you. So, when my husband died 6 years ago, right, because I took care of him for years before that. He died of COPD. He had cancer. He had bladder cancer. He had COPD flare-ups where he would end up in the hospital for weeks. So I forgot I was gonna go with this. Oh, wait, no, it was like August, July of that following year. He died in 2019. In July of 2020, I was from August until July 2020. I was just walking like a freaking zombie. I was making my movements, but I wasn't with myself. So I'm gonna throw it out there. I don't care who knows now. I became suicidal. Yeah, I did. I was this close. This fucking close to grabbing my pills. I had my pills right in front of me, yeah. But I was eating, it was funny, I was eating a sausage sandwich. And I was texting my therapist back and forth, and she's like, I'm calling the police. I'm like, please don't. I do not want to stay in the hospital. Don't want to do it. But she did anyways. To make a long story short, I was there for 12 hours, just observation. They calmed me down. They gave me some good meds. Went to Nun Island, and they put me in an outpatient psychiatry program for like 6 weeks. And I learned coping skills all over again. The very last freaking day, that's when I had my aha moment. I was great. My suicidal thoughts were over my husband dying. Never realized that until then. Boom, and I'm like, what the ever living hell? What is And I was seeing a bereavement counselor. She never told me, oh yeah, you can become suicidal over a person's death. Never knew it. Never knew it. Never knew it. And then if it wasn't for that program, St. Vincent's outpatient psychiatry, I forget what it's called, but shout out to them. They're amazing. But yeah, I got my coping skills. I got my life back. I just came back. It's kind of like, wake up, you're fine, he's fine. And then after that, he loves his red-tailed hawks. So every time I see a red-tailed hawk, hi, Brad. Yep, I'm fine. Oh, and then I don't want to sound really morbid or people think I'm crazy. People do think I'm crazy anyways.
We're all crazy, but good.
He will hide shit on me. Yep. I was at my old place and go away. Not you. I was at my old place and this is when I was smoking cigarettes. And I was cleaning my room and I needed a cigarette so bad. Couldn't find my lighter. Could not find it. I mean, I know where I put it. I was mad as hell. And I'm like, okay, Brad, you got jokes. You know what? Oh, fast forward backwards. He told me, he's like, when I die, I'm going to haunt you. I'm gonna haunt the living hell out of you. And what does he do? He hides my lighters, hides my keys. So I was mad. No one was awake in my house, so I can't, you know. So I ended up going to the dollar store and buying a dollar um, lighter, right? So I come home. I had like a little dolly thing on my table. I lifted up the dolly. What falls down? My lighters. Not one, but two of them. Because I looked there 5 different times and they were not there.
I
And
love that.
I'm like,
Listen,
okay, Brad, you got your jokes. You got jokes. And then
I love it though, because we are multi-dimensional beings. Listen, I I never assume I know anything. I'm gonna leave it at that. But with that being said, it is that time for us to wrap up.
no,
We've gone past the hour, but that's okay. Jenna, thank you so much for playing with us today to jump in out of the blue. That is a real gift. And thank you so much for imparting your wisdom and some of your vulnerability and truth on the
hell
listening
yeah,
audience. I truly believe our story is our superpower, and when we transmute our suffering and pain in our stories, we give other people permission to do the same. So I'm really, really honored. Yanko, you got anything you want to
Yeah, I
add?
was gonna thank Jenna for showing up for no particular
no
reason
problem.
and vibing with us in the show. I'm sure our audience are gonna love this episode and having you with us. And you're welcome to come back at any time, though. We
I will.
appreciate anybody that's like jumping in and vibing with us. It's been great. And my parting words to our audience, it's gonna be um, uh, have a great weekend. We appreciate you. We're looking forward to hearing back from you. Let us know, send us an email, ask questions, and we'll be happy to,
Disagree with
yeah,
us,
Happy.
yeah.
all that. And then I don't know, I gotta sing a song to say goodbye because my high lives wants to share it with you all. Okay,
happy,
we gotta go.
happy
Bye,
Mother's
y'all.
Day, everyone.
Yes, happy Mother's Day.